Fox News host Sean Hannity threw some shade at Tucker Carlson in a recent episode of the Katie Miller podcast.
Hannity sat down with Stephen Miller's wife on Tuesday, and the two discussed Hannity's former Fox colleague, Tucker Carlson. Let's listen.
I mean, I wish him well. I've read a lot of what he says. I just completely disagree with it, and it's not the person that I knew when he was at Fox.
Miller then asked Hannity for his take on the growing infighting among conservative media personalities, and here was that response.
And I've stayed out of it, if you've noticed.
You have.
That's by design. To me, the big fight in this country is against the radical left. And they all want to kill each other. My interest in involving myself in it is zero. I don't believe my success is predicated on tearing somebody else down or their failure.
Hannity went off on the mainstream media, saying the difference between me and them, I also say I'm a conservative, and I'll tell you who I'm going to vote for. Hannity then slammed CNN's Jake Tapper, calling him a fake journalist.
Hannity also offered his predictions about President Trump's 2028 run, saying, quote, "The Constitution's clear now. Who knows? With Donald Trump, you just don't know. The rules change."
Yeah, this was very typical for Sean Hannity, and I don't say that in any sort of negative way. He is, I don't know him, well, I don't know him at all. I've appeared on various Fox programs. I don't think I've appeared on his show, but maybe once or twice. Everyone says he's a very, very nice guy in person. I think I've met him a handful of times. Seems like a very nice guy. He is not someone who wants to, like, behind the scenes fight with people or especially fight with people on the right. He is a sincere believer that the conservative vision is good for America, that Donald Trump is good for America, that Democrats and the left are bad for America. He is laser focused on fighting with the left, on having a show that is, he trains his fire towards Democrats. He doesn't like to do infighting on the right at all. He doesn't, it's exactly like he said there. He clearly disagrees with everything Tucker's doing, but he doesn't want to pick a fight with Tucker or with anyone else in any direction on the right. He cares about getting Republicans, providing rhetorical opinion programming support for conservative audiences, and that's what he does, and that's fine. I respect him for that. Frankly, more people on the right should, if we're going to be effective as a movement, more people on the right should choose that.
Just fall in line with anything
so much
that goes against everything you voted for. Just fall in line.
Okay, there's a lot of infighting.
What, across parties or just
no, on the right?
Oh yeah, and he doesn't want to address the people that are actually holding the administration's feet to the fire from what they campaigned on versus what they're doing. Why is that a bad thing? You always talk about how that's a good thing. No, we're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're talking about the entire Turning Points convention in Phoenix, how there was a lot of infighting. We're talking about all the things happening.
The infighting between Candace Owens and Erica Kirk is not helpful, and it is a grieving widow on one side and an insane person on the other.
You picked out one example. I talked about the whole Turning Points event. I'm talking about Tom Tillis talking to Kristi Noem, both Republicans, that were having that argument that we just saw in the Senate. I'm talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been ostracized from the party for calling for America first. I'm talking about MAGA influencers that are challenging the president on going to war in Iran. There's a lot of infighting that's not Candace Owens and Erica Kirk.
That's not what I meant. I meant the very toxic, media-focused part that's not really about policy, but is about fighting people on things that are crazy, that Candace Owens is participating in, and others who want to, prop her up so they can fight. That's not helpful. Obviously, we're going to disagree about Iran, and we should have conversations.
But Hannity is acting like better than, like, I don't like to kick people when they're down just on my side. But he'll take every opportunity to try to kick somebody down on a different network that has a view that he calls leftist, but aligns with...
That does make him better.
No, because a lot of people that have maybe a leftist view, particularly, let's say, in the case of Iran, are the same exact views as the people that he doesn't want to kick while they're down that are also saying it within his own party. So he needs to just call out right from right and wrong from wrong if he believes that way. What's the policy that you believe in? It shouldn't be about what the party you want to antagonize. What is the policy?
I wasn't saying he's a...
No, that's what he said, though. He's trying to convince Katie Miller he's above it all. He doesn't do that only for them. It's just like petty. Like, what do you mean? Do you talk about policy or do you not? He only wants to go after the left.
On what the true threat to conservatism, the true threat in his view to America is, that it's the Democratic Party. and and if Republicans are going to get elected, be successful, conservatives are going to grow their movement, they have to be focused on that, not always, constantly divisive personal conflicts, the likes of which we're seeing now.
Well, he has to address the elephant in the room, is that there's a clear split within the Conservative Party from establishment versus current people who want to move towards the populism movement. And so if he wants to act like that's not happening, he surely can. But some of those people who are moving towards the populist movement are the same people that were on the fence in the last election, and were even people like Joe Rogan who's interested in people like Bernie Sanders, which should make him very alarmed, because if he really is a champion, like he said, telling you who he's voting for of the conservative movement, then he needs to also understand what the future of Republicanism or conservatism looks like, right? He can't just define it based on the old norms. And that's what he kind of seems like he wants to do. It's just like the way that Fox News used to be. I don't like that, Tucker Carlson is doing anything that when he was in this Fox that ran a tight ship. It's all right.
She asked him his opinion. This is the point. He doesn't spend any of his show or any time whatsoever, not on Twitter or anything he does. He spends zero time going after Tucker. That's just not what he's about. And I think it is helpful to have at least one person in conservative media who mostly talks about his frustration with Democrats. It's beginning to feel like every single other person mostly talks about their frustration with other conservatives. And it's not healthy.
That makes him more noble because he doesn't want to address the actual issues going on within his own party that he loves so much.
I think it's I think it's a good idea for him to do that. I think it's good for some conservatives to spend some time talking about how Democrats are bad.
That's all. It's going to be interesting about what happens to the party after President Trump. It's completely changed. I understand Hannity's perspective on he seems like he's more aligned with the establishment of the party, what it used to be. And I don't know if that still exists after.
The establishment is, Trump took over. The establishment is Trump.
It's really not, though, because no one's sure that Trump lasts after Trump leaves. People are trying to make sure. You just said that Trump has a cabinet full of people that may disagree with him in a variety of ways. What does that look like when Trump's not the figure moving the needle?
Inherits this quite clearly, and J.D. Vance's policies are very similar to Trump's on almost everything. Maybe his slight differences on foreign policy. His economic policies are very similar. His domestic policy is very similar. His views on immigration are very similar.
Well, foreign policy is a huge deal. It's been literally Trump's whole life of
right.
His first year in office.
That's the most interesting thing about all this.
That's crazy.
Behind the scenes, what we hear is that J.D. Vance was not for this.
Venezuela, Iran.
I don't know about Venezuela. That he's not for this in particular, the Iran thing.
Well, their foreign policy is different. That must be a huge issue for somebody like Hannity, who goes on air every day and wants to defend every single
Biden had a different foreign policy from Obama to some extent. I mean, he was not supportive of every foreign policy decision Obama made. He thought, apparently, he thought Libya and Syria interventions were missteps, and Hillary Clinton overruled him on that. And I thought he actually showed some maybe better instincts than other people who were part of the team at that time.
It might be,
then as president,
but maybe it'll behoove the party to define what it actually is, and then people won't be so disgruntled when somebody else campaigns on one thing and then does something else. Like you said, perhaps if Trump would have just said, like, I'm like a traditional conservative in this way that I'd like to push forward in these Middle Eastern territories, then perhaps maybe everyone wouldn't be so alarmed right now, and you would avoid some of this fighting that he doesn't want to see. Up next, Bernie Sanders is firing back after a Washington Post article trashed his proposed billionaire tax. We'll be right back.